And then there'll be the great Lord Tonee sitting on his throne, and we have to sort of go and pray to him before. I hope that won't happen, but it's a risk that we're prepared to take.
Okay. You are implementing this initiative in 3 phases.
Yes.
If you can tell us, and he mentioned the budget, if you can tell us exactly what those 3 phases entail and what it has taken to get to this level.
Oh wow, what is it? If I was to do what it has taken to get to this level, this
we'd
would
be here till not a breakfast show, lunchtime.
So lunch, we could discuss this
brief,
further,
Tonee, brief.
But then, I think that the first thing is the 3 phases. The 3 phases are, as he said, we're trying to create a platform where youth can be able to speak.
Right.
And so the first question is, what is youth? You have to be able to find a golden thread that cuts through young people from different sectors. Let me just make this really clear. Middle class is a very bad place to be in this country because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Right. You're damned if you have the education, or he's elitist because he's going to school, so don't pay attention to him, he or her. They don't reflect what Kenyan society is. You're damned if you don't, in that if you haven't had the education or leave them alone, they don't know what they're doing. Right. So trying to be able to discover what Kenya wants to be means being able to discover what the youth right now are looking to see as a dream. Okay. And so the first phase is, of course, the tour from Kenya through, can I say the countries? Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, Malawi, Zambia, Botswana, South Africa, then back through Mozambique, Tanzania again, and back home. Okay. And in all those countries, what we're trying to do is first put together young people into a singular van of the same vision. What do you want to do? What is your Africa? That's actually the question we're asking. Right. The second phase is getting representatives from all these countries, 2 young people from Kenya, 2 from Rwanda, 2 from Burundi, Uganda, and putting them in one truck and doing this trip again. Okay. But this time you have 24 young people from Africa doing the trip through all these countries, and by then we hope that we'll have more patrons, not less patrons, more.
Why 24?
Because 2 young people from the 12 countries.
Okay.
And the reason why we're doing 24 is because Africa, a single African country can't solve its own problems alone. Right. You know, the planet is not an island.
Partnerships.
Yeah, partnerships, networks, teamwork. Okay. And I think young people need that right now. And then the third phase is, of course, being able to have different organizations come together and settle for a singular purpose. Right. We have hundreds of organizations in Nairobi alone. We do. But then if you were to ask somebody, give me 5 names of youth organizations, they wouldn't be able to give you any, because it's difficult for them to be able to articulate themselves, and there are so many. It's difficult for them to stand up, like an example of a Tory who stands up for the laborers and speak with one mind. That doesn't happen. And those kind of values and those kind of systems need to be put in place, but not by the government, or not by corporates, or not by our parents, or not by friends like John Sibi, who's given us his name and reputation, but by ourselves. There's a level of responsibility we need to take to heart and do something about. Okay. And I think that's what we are doing.
If you could tell me about your intentions in terms of partnering up with other youth foundations and other youth programs when you do return. What is your long-term goal when it comes to that?
That is the long-term goal. In fact, the long-term goal is, we work around three major words, and these major words are exposure, experience, and exchange. And straightforward, exposure is about opening your mind. Experience is building work experience, knowledge experience, information experience, building yourself. And exchange is about out of your community, out of your social life, out of what is something common to you, and putting yourself in another situation that is not common to you, and trying to relate to other people's failures. Let me give you an example. The English I speak is fluent, I believe, is it not? It is good English.
Not bad.
It's not bad. It can't be improved.
Compared to John.
We're
all, okay, go on.
But then, if I was to switch and do Sheng, I would do it very, very well. If I was to switch and do my mother tongue, I would do it very, very well. And a few other Kenyan languages I know, because I've exposed myself to people like that. Okay. Kwa hivyo kana kuzungumza Kisheng, tutazungumza chap. But then the thing is, while we're trying to partner with these organizations, these youth organizations, what we're trying to come up with is a system of networking, a system of influence, and a system of resources, where we become self-dependent. Okay. Because the moment you start depending on somebody, really they are the one who set their for you. Okay. And so it's not really a political movement. It's neither is it in any way a social movement. I think it is a mental movement. It's a paradigm shift movement. Why is Africa looking so bad when we have so many great things going on for us? Okay. That's the idea.
John, in your own opinion, what can be the role of government in an initiative such as this? If they're not playing any role, I don't know.
Well, the role of government is defined socially. I mean, they should have been taking a stake in this from day one. Right. I think that as a society, we can always have these wonderful little analogies. Wazazi wanatuza watoto wao, watoto wanakuwa wakubwa, and then you still got to look after them when they're big.
Yes.
Right.
So at this stage of the game, as a society, because the other day we can't sort of lay everything on the hands of government, I could imagine that the Kenyan government, given the problems that face our country, are very, very large.
Right.
So it's always very, very easy to sort of sit here and blame our leaders and say they're a waste of time.
Yeah.
I think that's a sort of uninspired way of looking at things.
Right.
But I think that when the young people take the initiative, if your kid wakes up one fine day and says they're going to wash dishes in a hotel so as to be able to pay for their matatu fare or their SIM card, you more energy to look at them in reverse.
Right.
So these folk are saying, we're taking the initiative. We're not waiting for government to come and say, Tonee, you're head of the Kenya Youth Foundation.
Right.
Here's 10 million and see what you can do with it. Are you going to build swings in Wajir? Are you going to put a petrol pump in, I don't know, Turkana? Where are you going to start off first?
Right.
They're going to work it out for themselves. So I think, to answer your question in a very sort of oblique sort of fashion, they're taking the load off government in a way,
right,
which is a good thing.
For the government.
Yes,
and
but I'm not in government. I'm not a politician, so I don't know what there's a Vision 2030,
right,
which is a marvelous document, we're told, that's going to make this great utopia.
Right.
And if we live long enough, everything will be fine as long as we get to 2030. But if everything, if nothing's happening,
right,
if nothing's happening on the ground, then I could be cynical and say nothing will happen. Right. These young people make something happen. So I think the sort of plug is for when we read about their trip, coming onto a show such as this,
right,
is to make your viewers aware that it's on, and to give it their sort of tacit support.
Right. Good one. Tonee, challenges?
Oh, wow.
What challenges have you had?
Tons.
And
very,
how
very
have you
many.
overcome them?
Overcoming challenges is basically taking two things, that's faith and determination.
All right.
And it's not even a preachy thing. When you want to do something, you do it.
Right.
And if you come across a barrier, you act like water and look for a way out. And it's been a lot of trouble. Yes, you talked about the budget. The amount of money we needed for the trip is 8 million shillings.
Okay.
Yeah, we've raised about half that money.
Right.
And we're still hoping to raise another 4 million, but we have to do the trip.
Right.
So we have about 14 to 15 days to go. And we're going to figure it out as we go. But what we do know is that we've come this far. And it's true what he spoke about in terms of helping government. Instead of pointing fingers, we're the type of people who are solution-based thinkers.
Right.
So there's the youth ministry, and they have they have got some capable people in that ministry. I've been fortunate to meet the PS, and they're very good people in that place. And but they have a lot to do, with 65% of the country being youth.
Right.
They have a lot of young people to deal with. It would be nice if we could take the burden off. But then still, the simple challenges of getting into corporate offices and talking to them about partnering with us has been huge. I mean, that's very difficult, to the point where, as he said, we had to do the whole external go preach to another part of the world kind of thing. Prophet
Right.
is only respected outside the country. And we got a lot of our money from abroad, and we had to do a couple of trips. I think the biggest challenge has not even been fundraising. Fundraising we could do. Uncle John has a lot of support in that. We've spoken to great people. But I think the biggest problem per se has been to get young people the problems that they have. That's the issue. In fact, the issue is not so much fundraising, because courtesy of your show, I'm sure there's somebody here who's listening and watching and is like, I want to work with them.
Okay.
Yes, do. Call them.
Yeah.
But then I think the problem is trying to get young people from Lavington to feel young people from Korogosho, and young people from Kibera to feel young people from Kireleshwa, and
Right.
like that. Because when it comes down to it, 2030 is not about what Kenya can be. It's about what people in Kenya can be. Kenya is this vague thing that is out there. But Kenyan people are citizens. They're for real. We own what we do. And we're the ones responsible. So that's been the biggest challenge, getting people to buy into the whole concept of you are responsible for everything. You know,
Responsible for you.
for you, everything.
Okay.
At home, in the office, in town, if cities are dirty, you're responsible. If your leaders are not doing what is right, you're responsible. You can't point fingers and expect solutions to bring themselves out of you pointing fingers. You have to do something about it. And that's what it is.
When does this trip start?
It starts on September the 19th. That's a Friday. We're hoping to be flagged off.
It's about 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks.
Wow.
It's 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're hoping to be flagged off by some great friends of John and some good.
We can't mention them now, in case they change their mind about flagging. But